And as we continue to celebrate Human Rights Day, we turn our special attention now to gender equality in education. Despite significant progress, many girls in South Africa and across the globe still face barriers to accessing quality education. On this important day, we then reflect on the ongoing efforts to ensure equal opportunities for all, regardless of their gender, and also examine the challenges that remain in achieving the educational equity to every child. And to further unpack this, let's extend a very warm welcome now to Nothemba Sonjica from the Commission for Gender Equality. A very happy Human Rights Day to you too, Nothemba. Welcome. So this particular aspect of commemorating this day always brings to the fore the ongoing disparities of specifically the girl child and the black child and their access to the quality education as well as equal learning opportunities. Where do you rate us as a country in trying to foster or even bridge these existential gaps?
Thank you so much for the invitation. Apologies for the background noise. I think we still have a long way to go. If we are still hesitant about calling duty bearers into order and if we are still not holding them accountable, your duty bearers being your basic education, your social development, your Department of Health, and all other duty bearers who have the responsibility to ensure that the girl child does make it to school and also any barriers are attended to. For instance, with the girl child, we find that in some areas, for those that have limited access to sanitary pads, they don't go to school on that particular day, or certain other barriers that may prevent them from going to school, learner and teenage pregnancy as well. If we do not perform the necessary oversight, and also if we do not call the duty bearers into account, it means there will be a high school dropout when it comes to learners who do become pregnant. So if we don't address those barriers, we still have a very long way to go.
Like even the little things though, Nothemba, because I mean, besides some of those barriers that you mentioned there, something that somebody might look at it as insignificant, like the issue of the fact that there's not even infrastructure like roads and bridges for these specific students to actually go and acquire that quality education. But what actually are some of the direct as well as major driving factors you think to these inequalities? I mean, it's been 30 years, Nothemba, since the dawn of democracy. We've just seen black students highlighting their plight of financial or academic exclusions at some institutions at the start of this academic year. Issues that were even part of the now almost forgotten Fees Must Fall movement still rearing their ugly head in this day and age. Where are we lacking?
All right. I think if we need to look at factors and not look at them in vacuum. You've mentioned quite a few factors that prevent the girl child, not only the girl child, but the boy child in terms of access to education. The funding issue is a problem. Learner teenage pregnancy is a problem. Infrastructure is a problem. We find some schools in remote areas who still use pit latrine toilets. So infrastructure is a huge problem, and one may attribute that to maybe a lack of political will. There are frameworks, there's guidelines, there's legislation, there's laws, there's the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the country. Yet we are still here 30 years later. So the limited resources, which is a factor that the duty bearers normally put forward when they're brought to court regarding these issues, is still a problem even to this day, and it's a justification that duty bearers hide behind when it comes to enforcing the rights in the Bill of Rights. And
Nothemba, I mean, I think you're also very familiar with the now famous phrase that South Africa has some of the best policies but fails dismally at implementation. I mean, if you compare some of our, even let's start here in the continent, if you compare some of our continental counterparts in rating the quality as well as access to education, I mean, we still unfortunately embarrassingly fall short, with many feeling that education in this country is slowly being weaponized against those who cannot afford it, leading to an endless cycle then of poverty, with the black young often at the higher end of the spectrum.
Yes, indeed. I think where we fail at is recognizing how education can empower not only the youth, but it can empower people from, or girls, boys from poverty-stricken areas. So we do fail in terms of enforcing those laws. But we, as a Chapter 9 institution, as the CGE, we do call the certain duty bearers into account. However, there needs to be a multi-sectoral approach where we call these duty bearers into account, and also there needs to be political will in terms of the duty bearers that are in power. The policies are there, right? The laws are there, the constitution is there, but there needs to be a political will and political conscience to recognize that if we progress in terms of this right, then we're empowering the girl child, we're empowering the boy child, we're working towards poverty alleviation, we're working towards empowerment as well.
Thank you so much, Nothemba Sonjica, the Commissioner for Gender Equality, as we look at equal education as well as the access for all this Human Rights Day.